When it comes to footwear, we pick them out for a number of different reasons. Sometimes we like a pair of shoes for the way it looks, the color, the style, or the brand. Comfort is another reason. And in some cases, choice is based on the physical activity involved. Different sports require a different pair of sneakers. But the right pair of shoes will keep your feet healthy and the rest of your body safe. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome to MedTalk Health Talk right here on CNN Philippines. Walking and running can exert pressure on your feet and other parts of your body, and the chances of injury increases with the wrong pair of shoes. So we need to learn how to choose the right ones. With us today is Dr. Carmelo Braganza. He's the section head of arthroscopy and sports medicine at De Los Santos Medical Center. We're also joined by Coach Rio de la Cruz, head coach of the UP track and field team and president of Run Rio Incorporated. Thank you both for joining us. Sure, a nice pair of shoes can make you look good and stylish. But there's more to that because wearing the right pair not just affects your feet, but also other parts of your body. I'll start first, Dr. Bragi. So aside from how a shoe looks, what should the viewers take in consideration the next time they buy shoes?
I think the most important thing when getting a new pair of shoes for sporting activity would be yung sapatos po na comfortable. And something that would actually matter ay kung yung athlete po natin or the one using the pair of shoes is a novice or new athlete or someone who's been participating in sports for a long time.
So the right pair of shoes should be able to give your body the right type of support. And if not, problems can arise because of this. Now, Coach Rio, ano-ano mga iba't ibang problema na pwedeng lumabas kapag hindi maganda yung klase ng sapatos o yung fit ng sapatos?
Well, based from my experience, no, and I think with other athletes, so if wrong yung shoes na gagamitin mo, maaari kang magkaroon ng mga injuries like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendinitis, and other things kasi hindi tama yung sapatos na ginagamit mo. So sabi nga ni Doc Bragi kanina, one of the most important thing is yung comfort. Thing to consider also is yung flexible ba siya, lightweight, and of course yung mayroon siyang cushioning.
Wearing the wrong pair of shoes can also lead to foot and ankle injuries, katulad ng sinabi ni Coach Rio kanina. Bunions and corns are among them. Dr. Bragi, both of these can be painful at times. How does a bunion develop?
Actually, a bunion develops from yung mga sapatos po na matutulis, masikip po sa dulo. So if you have a tight toe box, which is the front part of the shoe, it can cause deformities and pain. And one of these deformities that forms is called a bunion po, or as medically termed, hallux valgus.
Okay.
You can have it on the big toe and also on the small toe. It would be called a bunionette.
Anong pagkakaiba naman ito sa corn, Dr. Bragi?
Corn is, it's a callus, no? Callus, so it's thickened skin. Usually our feet or any part of our body will try to develop a corn or a callus to protect itself. So this usually happens if there's constant rubbing or too much stress in cases of a tight shoe or ill-fitting footwear. One of the treatments for that would be as simple as putting some moisturizer or anti-chafing ointment.
Now, Dr. Bragi, are there specific shoes that people should be wearing or not wear?
Yung mga participant in sports, if you're a runner, probably it's better to use a running shoe than using your tennis shoes or basketball shoes. So I think important yung sinabi ni Coach Rin, that you should have sport-specific footwear because in doing so, you lessen the injuries.
Now, a lot of us have probably experienced a sprain in our lifetime, lalo na pag tumatakbo or when we're playing sports or you lose your balance and then you trip or you fall. Now, Coach Rio, what happens when someone suffers from a sprain?
Yung ankle injury, lalo na yung tapilok, kumbaga, no? Ito yung hindi naman siya ganun ka-severe, unlike yung ibang injuries na sports and threatening injuries, no? So pero may iwasan tong ankle injury sa paggamit nga ng proper shoes, no? Isang common na nagko-contribute dito is yung foot type mo. Kapag ikaw ay high arch, kasi nag-supinate yung iyong paa or nagro-roll outward. So yun yung medyo common na injury sa mga ganong foot type.
I'm sure you've experienced a sprained ankle before sa training or sa actual event. Sa tingin mo, yung tamang footwear ay nakakapag-prevent ng ganitong klaseng injury, itong mga sprains?
Yes, actually yung sprain injuries common siya sa basketball. But sa running very few lang, no, unless meron kang naapakan na something or talagang mali yung sapatos mo. So meron kasing mga sapatos na iba-ibang klase na tama para kung ikaw ay flat-footed, high arch or neutral. So yung pagsuot ng tamang sapatos base doon sa specific na foot type mo ay malaking tulong na pag-prevent ng injury.
Now, if you feel pain when you take your first steps in the morning, that pain could be due to plantar fasciitis. The pain normally decreases as you get up and move, but sometimes it can return throughout the day. Dr. Bragi, why does plantar fasciitis happen? Can the wrong shoes affect this condition or make it worse?
Yes, that is true. If you have plantar fasciitis, this is masakit po yung sa talampakan ng paa, no? Sa may heel of the foot. So right by the base of the foot, that's where the pain is. And yung kirot po na yan, patients have described it as stabbing pain, severe pain upon waking, and yung unang mga apak po sa umaga. But as the day goes on, nababawasan po yung kirot and they go about their activity, but later on it will return. So usually it is caused by change in weight, change in activity, and new footwear usually.
And another problem that we want to discuss today is athlete's foot, which is the fungal infection that occurs on your feet. Dr. Bragi, can the right footwear prevent fungal infection? And what are other ways in order for our viewers to prevent this?
Yeah, it will be proper to wear shoes that breathe normally. So there's a lot of ventilation in the foot box, so the feet can dry adequately. But probably the more important point, o yung mas importante po, ay yung hygienic practice pag mga fungal infection. So you should change your shoes regularly. May lifespan po yung sapatos, maybe 3 to 6 months or depends on the mileage. And then keep your toes clean all the time.
A quick question for Coach Rio. Coach Rio, kapag tumatakbo, do you recommend to yung tinuturuan nyo to wear socks all the time or okay lang na tumakbo kahit barefoot?
Ako mas preferred ko yung merong socks, no, kasi nakaka-prevent siya ng chafing. And at the same time nga yung hygiene, no, na makakaiwas din siya doon sa fungal infection or something. So meron din kasi mga athlete lalo na kapag competition na ayaw nilang merong medyas. So depende na lang sa individual, but me, I highly recommend it for support also.
To prevent these conditions and keep our bodies safe and healthy, a good pair of shoes can help. Tips in choosing the right pair? We'll give them to you after a short break. This is Med Talk Health Talk. Keep it right here on CNN Philippines. With the current work-from-home setup, most of you are wearing high heels and formal shoes less. But when you do go back to being more out and about, you need to have the right pair of shoes for the right occasion. You're watching Med Talk Health Talk, where your health comes first. There are different factors to take into consideration when choosing your shoes. Let's start with day-to-day footwear. Dr. Bragi, ano ang mga bagay na dapat bigyan pansin pag pumipili ng day-to-day footwear?
So pagbibili po ng sapatos for regular use or even for sports, the most important thing is to get a nice fit of your shoes and to purchase the right pair. Rule of thumb for shoes are they should have a wide toe box. There should be an allowance at the end of the toe box. So yung pinakamahabang daliri, dapat may kalahating inch po doon na allowance. And it's also advisable to buy shoes, pagbibili po ng sapatos, at the end of the day. Because sa end ng day, yung paa natin, mas malaki po yan compared to when we wake up or start the day.
No, Dr. Bragi, para dun sa mga mahilig magsuot ng mga shoes katulad ng high heels, aside from painful feet, what other parts of the body can be affected by wearing high heels?
It may be used for some type of work, but you wouldn't want to be wearing high heel shoes most of the day because it changes the axis of the body. Once you raise the heel, there will be changes in the alignment even up to your spine, the lower back and the neck. So it will change the the alignment of the spine, and it can cause to later on in life, for those who've worn high heel shoes for a long time, it can cause back pain and even neck pain.
Now, Coach Rio, how do you choose the right pair for this? We want to explain to our viewers why it's really important to have the right shoes specifically for a certain sport.
It's important because it contribute to injuries, no? Kapag mali yung sapatos na ginagamit mo. Like for example, if you're running and then you're wearing a tennis shoes or basketball shoes, it's uncomfortable kasi yung specific ng sapatos na yon ay hindi dapat para doon sa running. So ako, ang kino-consider ko nga kapag bumibili ako ng sapatos na gagamitin ko ay una, of course, yung comfort, meron siyang cushion. Third is flexible siya. Yun yung kailangang i-consider. Dapat yung sapatos na gagamitin mo ay tama doon sa sports na gagawin mo. So kapag ginamit mo naman yung running shoes sa basketball, maaaring magkaroon ka ng injury kasi doon nagre-require siya ng maraming talon, tatakbo ka and mag-i-stop ka sudden.
Is walking or running barefoot actually healthy for the feet in terms of strengthening muscles that are otherwise maybe not used as much when wearing shoes?
You've raised a very controversial topic in terms of footwear. We have the shoes with the big cushions, and then we have the shoes with the minimalist or very light cushion that you're almost barefooted. Yung mga sapatos po na ganyan, they simulate na nakapaa. I wouldn't advise it for newbies and first-time runners, those who just started out with activity. Possibly it would be much better kung nagsisimula pa lang to wear shoes with a cushion. And then as you get stronger and more adept at sport, you can change to the more minimalist. Because ang paa po ng tao, may mga muscle din po yan. Kahit puro buto po yung paa, we have the so-called intrinsic muscles of the foot. If one is not very active or athletic, these are poorly developed. So ang tendency is to use shoes with more cushion to support the foot more. But as these muscles get stronger, then later on you can change to shoes that have less support, and then we would allow more support from our natural feet with stronger muscles.
It's also good to ask a salesperson to measure your feet each time you buy shoes because your size can change with age and your feet can get larger or wider. Now, Dr. Bragi, what practical tips can you share when choosing shoes?
You're correct in saying that you can ask the salesperson to help you. There are actually shoe stores that offer, aside from the size, they even have an imprint where you can actually check if you're flat-footed, if you have a high arch or a neutral arch. We have the common misconception to think that flat-footed people are worse off. It's actually those with the high arches who have more problems. So practical tips for getting shoes are to have a nice fit. You can use that step board to check if you're flat-footed or high arch. Get the proper wear and then getting it in the afternoon. And then my thing is to have, for the longest toe, have an inch allowance. So it's there's enough space for the toes to breathe.
There are certain characteristics a quality pair of shoes will possess, and this includes good arch support and of course, shoes that feel comfortable. Yan ang pinaka-importante dyan. Now, Coach Rio, what are other qualities of a good pair of shoes?
For running a marathon, normally mas pinipili namin sana yung mas magaan, no? Kasi tatakbo ka ng 42K, so if your shoes is heavy, it's really hard for you to perform very well, no? But if it's light but with support, much better. We also have shoes na depende doon sa surface. Like for example, if you're running in a track oval, rubberized mat siya, so you need yung spike shoes. Also in football, 'di ba, pag maglalaro sila, meron silang special spike shoes for them. So it's very important na specific yung gagamitin mo doon sa specific sports.
Coach Rio, paano yung mga viewers natin who have probably one pair of rubber shoes? Gamit nila pang sports, gamit rin nila pag lumalabas sila.
Kung merong means na makapag-produce or makabili ng isa pang alternative na shoes, much better. Kasi based from my experience, when I was in high school or college, I used only one pair of shoes for everything, no? For my sprint, for my long runs. So ang tendency niya or yung results niya, nagkaroon ako ng injuries. Nagkaroon ako ng plantar fasciitis, nagkaroon ako ng Achilles tendinitis, shin splint because sobrang worn out na yung sapatos. So ako ngayon, as much as possible to prevent injury, meron akong multiple kind of shoes. So meron akong ginagamit na pang long runs, meron akong ginagamit na pang speed work, and meron akong ginagamit for easy runs para mas ma-prevent yung injury. So very rare na magkaroon ako ng pain sa aking mga paa.
All right, very good advice from an elite athlete like Coach Rio. Now, Dr. Bragi, paano naman ang mga shoe aids? Are these effective? Itong mga arch support inserts or yung iba, pinapalitan yung cushion para mas kumapal. Is it okay to modify what the shoe originally intended to fit like?
I think they can be helpful. It's not a one size fits all, right? So sometimes there are people who already have arthritis in their feet or they have poor support in their midfoot. So these are individuals who need to have customized shoes to make it more comfortable to them and allow more support, because not all commercially available footwear will provide that kind of support or necessary for my patients in particular.
And there are techniques for foot relaxation and pain. We'll talk about these when we return. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. At the end of a long day, our feet get tired. We sometimes feel pain and discomfort, and it's worth knowing techniques to help relieve this. Welcome back to the program. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Now, there are different kinds of massages depending on what you're addressing, whether it be anxiety or just general pain. Dr. Bragi, can you explain this to us?
Yeah, so for techniques for foot relaxation, personally, I prefer a nice foot spa or a foot massage. These are the things that can really ease some tension in the feet. And like Coach Rio, he's a very seasoned athlete. These are the guys who participate in sports a lot. General deep tissue massage is very helpful. For our weekend warriors or those who participate in weekend runs who don't get to train as much, this can also relieve some stress. One thing I advise my patients with painful feet, especially those who describe it after activity, is to have some warm foot soaks at the end of the day, a foot massage, and then one thing that they can do is actually apply moisturizer to their feet because it helps lessen chafing and drying of the toes. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, Coach Rio, meron ba kayong personal techniques for foot relaxation and pain relief?
Actually, yung massage. Second, minsan nilalagay ko sa malamig na tubig after kong tumakbo para ma-relax siya. And then yung third, meron akong ginagawang strengthening exercises, no? So dahil na-experience ko yung yung plantar fasciitis, medyo talagang masakit siya nung time na yon. So para mawala or ma-prevent ko yung pain, nag-exercise ako. So kumukuha ako ng towel, nilalatag ko siya, and then I'm using my toes para kukunin ko yung towel, no? And then or sometimes meron akong ginagawa yung marble, kukunin ko siya using my toes, and then ililipat ko siya sa other area, and then i-repeat ko siya. So yung plantar mo na exercise siya.
A quick follow-up question, Coach Rio. When it comes to shoes, naniniwala ba kayo na pag mas mahal ang sapatos, mas maganda at mas mabuti para sa paa?
Ako, ang principle ko, as long as comfortable ka doon sa sapatos na binili mo, regardless nung price, as long as yung performance mo ay hindi naman affected, go for it. But of course, merong mga lumalabas na super performance talaga, na talagang meron silang research and development, totoong nakakapag-improve ng performance. But of course, yung price nun medyo mas mataas. Pero meron namang mga ino-offer na magbibigay sa'yo ng comfort. So yun yung pinaka-importante. Comfort and dapat walang injury na nakukuha doon sa sapatos na isusuot mo.
Thank you very much, Coach Rio de la Cruz and orthopedic surgeon Dr. Carmelo Braganza. We appreciate your time very much. Remember, wearing the right pair of shoes is not only about looking good, but it's also about feeling good too. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Thank you for watching MedTalk Health Talk, only here on CNN Philippines.